And after that story ran, I was actually contacted by our next guest, Wóolis, which is a company out of Tulum looking to make a difference when it comes to the local environment by composting. Now, it's something that's not readily available in Tulum, despite its growing population. So I'm joined right now by Mauricio and Maria of Wóolis. Thank you so much both for taking the time to talk to me about this, because it's something I'm actually really passionate about. And I found your company so interesting after I connected with your coworker, Katie. So Mauricio, I want to ask you this. I talked about this a little bit in my cenotes story, but why is the ecosystem so fragile in that area?
You're looking at the Yucatan Peninsula being a shelf of limestone. And if you think of limestone as one big sponge, everything just goes through it once it's saturated. We don't actually have a drainage system like you do in most cities. Yet again, when we get torrential rainfalls or a hurricane, the water dissipates within a matter of hours. We don't get the huge floods that you see in other locations. It just goes away. That translates into contamination infiltrating the aquifer really, really fast.
Right.
So anything that we do to pollute just gets to our groundwater reservoirs pretty much immediately.
And Maria, can you talk a little bit about what the influx of tourism has really done to the area of Tulum and kind of what your company does?
Yes, of course. Well, the impact of tourists here is the tourism is that the hotels, they need to understand their impact and have like strategies to just like lower this impact about the garbage making, the water sewage, the water treatment
right.
of the wastewater. So I think the growth of the tourism here, the fast growth of the tourism, it's a very important fact because there is no infrastructure in this town, so we can just clean the water or separate the garbage the right way. So we are just making a huge amount of garbage that it's going into the jungle. Yeah. And it stays there.
Mauricio, can you talk a little bit about what your company does? And I'm curious also how COVID impacted your ability to actually do any of the composting.
Very good question. I started Wóolis with the idea of creating an economic ecosystem to provide solutions for everyday problems. We wanted to do it locally, as you can see in the diagram posted on the screen.
Yeah.
Our first project was composting. Our second one was actually the farm. The composting is a service, so we charge for it. And then we have our non-profit community aspect. So we believe that low impact generators shouldn't have to pay for this kind of service. And then from there, we went into doing restaurants and just kind of focusing on the food chain as our main target for this first few stages of the company. What COVID did, it's put us back 2 years. We started in 2017, and when COVID hit, we had 54 hotel, restaurant, and bar clients, and we were collecting about 4 metric tons of food waste a day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. And yet again, that's only 2% of what Tulum produces every day. We pivoted and we started doing a market concept in which we got the local farmers who had hotel and restaurant clients that were now without hotels and restaurants to sell to, so they could also continue with their activities. So we put together one of our garbage trucks, which wasn't working at the moment collecting food waste.
Yeah.
We turned it into a mobile market. So just trying to figure out ways in which we can use the economy and economic exchanges to drive the change that we want.
It started with such a simple change, right? Most people may not understand how important composting can be. And from there, the farm to the restaurants, across borders to Denver, I just have to say, I think it's really fascinating what you guys are doing. And it's so needed in that area. So thank you both, Mauricio, Maria of Wóolis. We appreciate you coming on and talking about this.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. We want to share the word. We just want to, work with amazing people that we do in Denver. The group that we work with is the Culinary Creative, and they do amazing things. And the thing is, it's replicable. We can do it anywhere, and we would just want to show people that it's not all doom and gloom.
Right.
That there is like a solution that doesn't require anything more than just consciousness of how you buy and who you buy from, and just a little bit more research. But it doesn't mean that it has to be less tasty, that you have to sacrifice anything that we're used to. In fact, we're saying the opposite. You know, the real luxury is eating clean and amazing foods, drinking fresh water, showering with water that is not contaminating. Like, these are the real luxuries of life, and they're becoming more and more precious due to climate change and global warming and our impact on the environment. So how can we change that? I believe is through economic innovation and just prioritization within the business models.
Absolutely. And thank you for putting it out there and putting it so simply in a way that people can understand, because this is real world. So Maria, Mauricio, once again, thank you for coming on.
Thanks.
Thank you.